Jim and the guys had a long conversation about hurricanes, hurricane prep, proactively storing your valuable items before a big storm is on the radar, insurance troubles after a big storm, and a slew of other hurricane-related topics. Instead of presenting one long conversation, we've broken it up into 3 shorter segments. If you'd like to see the conversation in its entirety, the link will be posted in the description below, as will links to the other shorter segments. Thanks for joining us.
We are now mere days away from the start of hurricane season down here in Florida and the southeastern United States, and these days even part of the East Coast, going all the way up into the Northeast. So I thought it might be a good time to talk about hurricane preparation and the very smart choice to engage in hurricane storage activities, getting your stuff put away before the storms come. All of us have, or the 3 of us anyway, have all experienced some pretty major hurricane related weather over the years. And we've also worked in an industry that can help people be ready for big storms to come through. So I figured we'd chat about it. There are ways that we can be a little more prepared. We can protect ourselves, our family, our things. So I figured we'd talk about them today.
Sure.
Well, in relation to that, this is a podcast that's focused on sustainability. And if you are proactive prior to said hurricanes, it is considered a sustainable practice to take your stuff, your invaluable things, and put them into storage. And this is something that we do every single day for clients in Southwest Florida, right up through the East Coast. And, part of that is we've talked about, upcycling. Well, you don't have to recycle or get rid of anything if you maintain it. Yeah. And that comes with proactivity. So it is a fitting topic for today.
There's a lot of things to discuss because I think we know the phrase "show me the money," and all of what you just mentioned, John, there's a money trail to this. And as you're saying, Derek, there's a way to prevent or change that money trail. The damages in these hurricanes over the past 10 or 15 years, particularly in Florida, because there's more and more people in Florida, fewer and fewer, because some people have just said, I don't want to do the hurricanes anymore. But we still have a ever increasing population in Florida. So more and more people are impacted. And I think it is important, particularly people that aren't familiar with hurricanes and just how they can affect your possessions. Just think of Hurricane Ian in 2022. There was a storm surge in one of the largest storm surges since the Great Galveston one in Hurricane Andrew in 1992. But we saw in Fort Myers a 15-foot storm surge. So you're at sea level, and anything below 15 feet was destroyed. So a lot of cars were gone, a lot of power, energy, because you don't have your energy out of water's harm. And so all the electrical boxes and stuff, we have a friend, she was 2 blocks from the beach in Naples, and she had a sunken living room, and that was a bathtub. But all of her garage was 4 or 5 feet under, and so all the electrical panels. And by the time you start pulling the layers back, they had to tear the house down, of course. But whatever's in your home, whether it be a car in the garage or your keepsakes in boxes, because in Florida there's no basements, so which is good. Yeah, because it'd really be bad with a hurricane. But since you don't have a basement, a lot of people put stuff in storage in closets. And we went to one woman's house, and this is true. It was sad. An older woman, she had all of her family pictures, and she had moved like 4 or 5 years ago, and they just safely put things in a closet. Well, the closet was 4 feet of water in there because they were near the beach. Yeah. And so all those family pictures were gone, and you don't get them back. And so money doesn't, what you were saying, John, you get these billions of dollars of losses, but the intangible losses you can't even put up, because she was hoping they could be restored. And I said, they're just all water damage. These are photos. These are pictures, from generations back, and all gone. It's sad. And so, there's steps you have to think about. Where do I live? How close am I to the water? Is my home secure from water coming in? And it doesn't have to be a flood.
Mm-mm.
It can just be rain coming in through the soffit and getting down into your sheetrock, and then mold collecting in your house, and now anything on your wall is now got mold on it.
And
It,
that's what
it,
happened to me is I had one, basically 3 rooms in my house where the soffit blew off. I'm pretty confident a tornado as part of Hurricane Ian tore through our neighborhood, took out massive trees, and also ripped all the soffit off, blew a bunch of water into my bathroom and my kids' rooms. They lost a lot of sentimental things to them from their youth, and we had to throw it out. And so this hits home for me because if I had the resources to every year take things, if I were living in Florida again, take the things that I care about, family heirlooms, my collections, whatever it may be, and put it into William C. Huff's Category 5 climate controlled storage, I would. But looking back, if I could, I would.
you'd find a way to do it. If you'd stayed in Florida, you'd find a way to do it.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm lucky because I'm a nerd. So full disclosure, I've got comic books, I've got Star Wars toys, I've got, some collectibles, I've got a Harrison Ford autograph, and I don't want that stuff destroyed, right?
Mhm.
And so I would put
Yeah.
it away if I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I think there's some we want to talk about practical things. If it doesn't fit in like a watertight Rubbermaid type thing, even a watertight Rubbermaid in a garage, because we saw it after Ian, it's not watertight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water's going to get into it. If there's going to be a hurricane, if you've got an attic, put it up there. Worst case scenario. Best case scenario, just get it away from where the flooding would happen, and either get a small self-storage 10 miles inland, because even a 14-foot storm surge isn't going to go 10 miles inland, or
Right.
hire a company. There are companies like ours that will offer service and come in and pick things up and put them away during hurricane season. And it's not that big of cost, particularly considering the potential loss.
Going back to, it behooves you to protect your things, put your things into storage.
Let's look at what as our company, what we do and why it's important. First of all, if you are going to use, and it's not a plug for us, it's a plug for anyone that has facilities and ability to get your things out of harm's way. We have a Cat 5 certified addition on our roof, on our warehouse. When Irma came through and we clocked 142 miles an hour, that building didn't even move. You didn't even know we were inside. And in the strongest wind speed, by the way, of any hurricane in Florida to date, according to NOAA, was the Labor Day hurricane 1935 at 185 miles an hour. So when people say, oh no, 200 miles an hour, no, 185. And it was typically, according to NOAA, for every mile inland, it loses 20% of the wind speed. So number 2 was Andrew in 1992 at 165 miles an hour. And Michael in 18. But Charlie, which I was there for Charlie, and we saw the effects of Charlie in and around our warehouse. A lot of older condos on the beach, just the windows blew out and everything. So what happened was they put everything to 150 mile an hour wind speeds. Well, then you bring Wilma in, that was also about 150, and not so much windows, but roofs and power lines came down big time with Irma. I'm sorry. Well, anyway, to let people know that we have the ability to put things. We're not in a flood zone. Our warehouse is not in a flood zone, so we're not worried about storm surge. We didn't take any water. Ian was a 10-foot storm surge in Naples, but again, we're 4, 5, 6 miles inland, so that's not a problem. We took in no water. The roofs were fine. Our building didn't take any damage whatsoever. So those are the things that you want to look for, historical data on warehouses and companies that are storing things. We do know some storage companies that were maybe less than they were in the flood zone, and people that had stuff there lost it all. and
Yeah.
we know those companies.
Yeah,
So,
there were a few warehouses here in Naples, Florida,
Yeah.
that were total losses.
yeah,
And
because they were in that flood zone, and so know where the flood zone is. So when these things start coming out, and people are starting to think about, what might be coming, don't wait until it's there. You know what's going to happen. Think about what you're going to do with those things. I mean, again, we've seen it. We've been there. We've been to these older homes on the beach, condos, where, I remember seeing a named
one of the
painting.
masters. Yeah.
Yeah, one of the masters. And it was at sea level. And all I could think of is even a 4-foot storm surge, that thing is gone.
Mhm.
And it was a 3-story townhouse. So just put it up on the second floor. If you're in a three-story townhouse, get everything off the first floor, put it up at least the second. And if you get a third, put it up there.
Well, let's take it back to the basics of hurricane prep, like considering the risks of your home, be it a home, a condo, whatever. This is probably going to be a little more single family home based, but consider the risks. You've got heavy winds, storm surge, flooding, the occasional tornado like Derek experienced. First, determine if you're in a flood prone area. There are flood maps all over the place.
Yep,
You can
right.
easily find them.
Yep.
Find out what evacuation zone you're in. Cities, counties, townships will dictate, these are the zones that absolutely have to evacuate and get the hell out of Dodge. Identify the structural risks to your home. When your home was built, did they use roofing straps, hurricane straps on the roof? That makes a huge difference with these super high powered winds.
Right.
If you have a basement, which most of us in Florida don't, you are probably at a higher risk of flooding down there. The trees around your house are a huge risk. You have to look at that sort of stuff, window and door protection. And then the little things, storing away your patio furniture, your lawn decor, things that become missiles with even 80, 90 mile an hour winds.
Kayaks. I had a kayak in my pool.
Yeah. That did not belong to you.
It was not my kayak.
So those are some of the basics that you can do for storm prep around around your home. The next level is what we've alluded to earlier, and that is getting some of these items out of your home altogether and in a safe place where you don't have to worry about it. If you're one of those folks that is fortunate enough to own multiple homes, and one of those homes is in a hurricane alley, Florida, Texas, Louisiana, any of those states where we are known to get big storms, wouldn't you much rather, a lot of folks go north for the summer. Great. Wouldn't you rather feel comfortable knowing that if you see a storm coming towards your second home in Florida or Texas, that you don't have to race back down and deal with it? Call a reputable company and have them come and get those high value items out of the house, safely put away into storage. You can rest easy knowing that regardless of what happens, your fine art collection or your wine collection or whatever, your family's precious items are safe.
We have people with very, very expensive clothes. Get your clothes out. I mean,
Jewelry.
even if you're not in a flood zone, there's danger of water getting in.
Yeah.
And then mold will, if power goes out for even a few days and you don't have backup power, and it gets up in the 90s inside a closed-in environment, mold starts within a few days. Once you get above 80 degrees, mold and water
it's a bad combination.
It's a really bad combination.
One last thing just to bring up in regards to hurricane preparedness is looters. And I had to sit, and Jim, you were nice enough, to take my kids and have them stay with you. Me and the dog had to sit, and we had no power. We had no air conditioning. I sat with my skivvies with no shirt on, like a caveman, and protected my house from looters. And
you're absolutely right. I didn't even think of the fact that there's a crime aspect too.
There is, and if you get your valuables out of your home prior to a hurricane, looters are not going to. I mean, even if they get in and you're not there, they're not going to be able to take what's not there.
Yeah, they're not looking for TVs anymore unless it's a really expensive one. What they're looking for is collectibles, and jewelry, things like that. They're going to go after. The collectible stuff just gets more valuable as time goes on. So you want to get those things out of there.
And so that's it there.
Yeah.
That's all I had. You and John did a great job of covering all my notes. So nice job, guys.
Yeah, thank
Well,
you.
thanks for the notes. The reason we could cover it so well is because we lived it, we watched
Yeah.
it, we saw it, and we said, we don't want to be that guy.
Yeah. Hurricane, if
So-
you've not experienced a hurricane before, even for somebody like me who is excited by big weather, hurricanes can be absolutely terrifying. And over the years, I have experienced enough and sustained. Fortunately, I've been very lucky. None of my homes have sustained damage, but my properties have. And I've been trapped on my own property and not be able to get out because of fallen trees and stuff. Hurricanes can be horrifying, deadly, devastating weather patterns. And
Sure.
over the years, I consider myself very fortunate that I'm very well prepared. I'm sitting in my studio at home right now. I've got a giant generator to my left that in fact will be hooking up to charge the batteries for the auto start, all that stuff. You have to do it now. That's the thing about being prepared. You're not prepared unless you're ready before, and you don't know when it's coming. So you always have to be ready. This is the season. Be smart, make good decisions. And if you can afford it and it works for you and you have the items, have a company like William C. Huff come and grab that valuable stuff, get it out of your house, safely stored away, and then you don't have to worry about it.
And we'll bring it back and stage it.
Well, this is all good stuff. I appreciate the time. I think it's a great conversation, and hopefully one person gets something out of this. We've done a good thing. Good stuff, gentlemen. I can't wait to do the next one.
Thanks, John. Thanks, Jim.
See ya.
See you soon. Bye.